Hello, everybody. This is Georgiana and Meredith from Creativity for Kids, and today we are going to be doing some glow-in-the-dark theme rocks with a patriotic twist. So, Miss Meredith, take it away.
Thank you, Georgiana, and thank you, Nicole. Yes, as Georgiana had just said, we're using our glow-in-the-dark rock painting kit to do some patriotic rocks. So stars and stripes, and even some cool firework looking rocks, and anything else that you can think of. So thank you, friends, for joining us today, and let's go ahead and open up the box and see what's inside. All right, so we have our handy dandy instructions. Here we go. Our two paint brushes, our broad tip and or our fine tip. Here we go. Let's see if our camera wants to focus here. Ooh. Focus, camera, focus. And there it is. Our stickers, and these stickers you put on the back of the rocks after you're done painting them in order to allow people to find more rocks to see different designs that other people have painted and hid and found. So it says hashtag creativity for kids, which is our social media account. We'll put those to the side for now. We also have our glow in the dark 3D paint, our neon paints and our black and our white, and all of our awesome rocks. So these rocks, you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And these are all really nice sized rocks. Plenty of room for painting. So I've actually already started preparing for our class with another kit just like this. So I'm going to put this one to the side and bring over what I've already started. So here are 4 out of 5 of 1 pack of rocks. I have 5 more to paint after this. But in the instructions, we mentioned that painting the rocks white before you add any other color of paint really helps these neon colors pop. So easy peasy, all you do, and I'll paint a rock right now for you to see. You just get your broad tip brush because we're going to be painting a broad area. And you just slather that paint right over your rock, just like that. And you wait for your paint to dry. This is basically just preparing the rock. It doesn't matter if it's a little bit messy looking. You just want to put white down and let it dry. So then your rock is all prepared for the colors that you want to add on top of it. And it dries pretty quickly. So the ones that I just did before class, this is the first one that I did, and it's already starting to dry pretty nicely. So in probably about a couple minutes, these rest will be dry. So while we're waiting for our rocks to dry, oh, and actually I did want to show you, if you don't put the white down first and you have a darker colored rock, it might automatically just pick up a darker hue. So I painted blue over this rock. So you can see it's already kind of just a nice darker background. And why that's kind of cool is because we are going to focus on the night sky in this class. So while these all dry, maybe we'll go ahead and add something that might look like a firework to this rock. What do you guys think? Cool? I think so too. So how we're going to create our firework, I'm actually going to use our fine tip brush. And I'm going to kind of just draw out what I think a firework looks like. And most fireworks kind of shoot up in the air and then they spread out into like a star formation, or maybe the lights kind of trail down like branches of a willow tree. And that's what I'm going to go for. So you can follow me here. Just use your imagination. Up, 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 up goes the firework. And then it, bang, explodes into all these little dots of color. So where I'm adding the white represents those little dots of color. And they really pop really brightly against the night sky. So kind of, I'm using the white paint as an outline of where I'm going to add our neon glow-in-the-dark paint. So I think I'll just make that a solid line, just like that. There you go. And then I'm going to add our neon glow-in-the-dark paint over top of it. So our neon glow-in-the-dark paint comes in these tubes, and they're really cool because they have fine tips at the end, fine tips on them. So you can see like that. And you can test out what the fine tip looks like. You kind of just tap the tip down on your paper towel. Oh, and I should have mentioned that since we're painting like all of our kits, we instruct you to put down some paper or paper towels just so you don't get your work surface all painty. So I have some paper towels down here. And you just squeeze it and you can see a little line come out. So I'm going to do a little line of orange. And you just squeeze it and it comes out just kind of like a very thin line of toothpaste. And then put a couple little dots like that. So that's my first explosion from the firework. And I'll do this one. Boop, boop. Then I'll do this one. And this one. And this is just my quick idea as to how to represent a firework exploding in the sky. So if you have another idea as to how to paint a firework, I would love to see it. And if you wanted to, if you're following along with your own rock painting kit, I'd love it if you or an adult or older friend could take a picture and then share it on our social media account, which is #CreativityForKids. So I'm gonna do a line coming down like that. So it kind of looks like a sparkler. I'm gonna put a different color in here just to kind of give it a little bit more interest. So whenever you're done using your glow-in-the-dark paints, just put your cap back on so the paint doesn't dry out in the tip. So I'll do a little bit of pink. And again, just tap the tip down just to get the paint down and get some of the air bubbles out. And then you're ready to go. Now, if an air bubble does come out, it's normal. Sometimes air just gets stuck within the tube, and that's just because tubes of paint sometimes have air bubbles in them. So don't be too upset if that happens. It's okay. There you go. And I think I need a little bit of the yellow, although it looks like white. It's kind of yellowy. There we go. And we'll just add it right on top of the pink. And down here. Ooh, and I think maybe I'll just kind of add some random, sometimes there's just like random sparks of light. So I'll just add the random sparks of light with this color. And this is one reason I love the glow-in-the-dark rock painting kit, because it's so easy to use these little tubes of paint. All right, well, that one's done for now. I'm going to put it aside so it can dry. And this paint does take a little bit longer to dry because it's much thicker than our strip of paints. So these are all acrylics, and these are more like a gel paint, like a window paint. So we'll put that one aside right here. Okay, so I think this one's all dry. And I'm curious if any of our friends out there have a suggestion as to what kind of 4th of July rock you would like to see. I kind of already have an idea. So if no one else does, oh, a pig. Let's see, does anyone else have any other ideas? A pig might be difficult, but we could always try that. Oh, a cat, maybe a cat. I was thinking more so like one of those rocket pops. Like a red, white, and blue.
Yeah,
rocket
we were having
pop.
the same thought process, but different wavelengths. I was also thinking a hot dog.
Yes. Okay, a hot dog
But
too.
if your mustard
Yeah.
glows in the dark, you might not want to eat that hot dog.
I think a hot dog would be fun too. So I could do both. Let's see. For the
Two long ones.
For the hot dog, yeah. Maybe. Let's see. I can totally use this rock as my rocket pop and this one as my hot dog. So I'm glad we're talking about that, because this is what you kind of need to do. You don't need to, but it's kind of fun to do when you look at one of your rocks at the shape of it and you try and imagine like, ooh, what could this rock be? Like this rock is kind of square and it looks to me like it could be a perfect flag, kind of rectangular or square-like. And then this one, like I said, I could make this one into our rocket pop. And since this one's very oval, I could see this one definitely being a hot dog. So let's start with our hot dog. And a hot dog, so the bun, the hot dog, and then any toppings on top. So it will be really fun to add like a ketchup, like squiggle.
Relish.
Ooh, and
green.
relish with the green. So the ketchup can be the pink, the relish can be the green. That would be pretty neat. And in order for that to work, let's see, we'll have to have something of an overhead view. So here's my pencil. I'm going to draw it out first because I've never done a hot dog. So let's see, I'm just going to start with an oval as the hot dog. And you may or may not be able to see because I'm kind of drawing lightly. And then the bun is usually a little bit bigger. I'm actually imagining those Halloween costumes for dogs that look like hot dogs. I don't know why I'm not just imagining an actual hot dog, but
it's almost like pre-drawn out for you.
Right. The hot dog costume is coming to life more than an actual hot dog. Okay, so here's bun, hot dog, and then squiggle, and then there's enough room to put relish on the side. Oh, so fun. Okay, cool. All right, so now our colors. So hot dog could be like a light orange color, and the bun could be more yellow. So just kind of planning that out. So since we do have an orange over here, but this is kind of bright. So I'm going to mix the yellow and the pink together to create a nice orange for our hot dog. And actually, since I'm going to use the yellow as our bun, I'm just going to put yellow over the entire area. So, and then when you paint like this, when you have something in particular that you're trying to paint, sometimes it's easier to make the painting look finished if you add a little detail with your black or a darker color. So we'll keep that in mind after we paint all the colors in. Okay, so there's our yellow bun. Now I'm going to take some yellow and just put a dollop right here and then close it up. And then I'm going to grab some pink to add to the yellow because that's what's going to make it orange. And I just dip the tip of my paintbrush in there because you don't want to like add too much too quickly. It's always easier to add more of the darker color into the lighter color rather than add too much and then try and go backwards, if you know what I mean. So this is a nice hot dog color. Tasty. Okay. So I'm kind of gonna put it on somewhat thick. Grab a little bit more. There you go. And you'll get the hang of how to apply the paint so it stays nice and dark for you. Since I did go over the yellow that I had initially put down, I'm adding a little bit more pink just to give it a little bit more color. There we go. All right, so far this is our hot dog. So bun, hot dog, bun. All right. Rinsey, rinse, rinse. Close up the pink. I feel like I need a little more yellow right there. I kind of skimped out on the yellow on the inside. I've been eating hot dogs ever since the weather got nice and warm for us here. Like, I think I've had a hot dog like probably 4 days out of 7 so far. I think I have a high tolerance for hot dogs.
What do you like on your hot dog, Miss Meredith?
I usually just go for ketchup, but I've definitely been stepping out of my comfort zone and adding relish to it and a little spicy sweet mustard. So it's been a deluxe type of hot dog for me recently. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. Normally I would let this dry, but I'm going to go ahead and add our ketchup and relish to it. And then I'll add some black detail lines, just because I'm so excited about it. Okay, so like I told you before, you just tap the tip of the glow-in-the-dark paint down and then just kind of practice a little bit by squeezing it out on your paper. And relish is like, kind of has a texture of like chopped up, isn't it chopped up pickles?
Yep.
So double checking my condiments. That's what relish looks like to me right now. We'll hold that up. And you can see the dimension from the side, you can see. So this is dimensional type of paint. And then we'll put our ketchup. Now I was going to do a squiggle, or should I just do it right down the side? I'll do a squiggle, the good old fashioned ketchup squiggle. Oh yeah, I think I already used the pink, yeah. Okay. So gotta make sure every bite gets some ketchup on it. Yeah, there's our ketchup. Perfect. All right, now like I said, you could wait for this to dry and then you could use like a permanent marker to add detail, and that might be a little bit easier. But for time's sake, I'm not letting it dry, and I'm just going to jump in there and hope that my coffee hasn't affected my 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 hands so much. So I'll just start up here and outline our bun with the black. And it would be so cute if I made this look like a cute little kawaii hot dog. Wouldn't that be cute?
I was just thinking.
Yeah, put a little face on it. That'd be sweet. I have to figure out where I'd put the face.
I know. The swiggle.
I know, the squiggle kind of is right in the center there.
Then I was like, well, if you put the face on the bun, then it kind of looks like it might be sticking its tongue out at you.
Oh, right. Yeah, it might look like a burger rather than a hot dog. All right, don't fail me now, fingers. You're doing a good job. There's a squiggly type of line next to the relish. And then I'll do a straight line. Whoa! Close. I almost made it. Okay. All right, cool. All right, so this is adorable, but it could be more adorable. And maybe I could just put the little face right up here, itty bitty. Okay. Ready? Itty bitty eyeball number 1. Itty bitty eyeball number 2. And we need a sweet little smile. Hi, little itty bitty face. All right, Georgiana, should I put little arms coming off the side, or will that look weird?
I think it would be adorable. So really,
right.
we're making a hot dog costume.
A hot dog costume. It's not for a dog, but it's a costume.
It's a costume nonetheless.
Right. Okay. Here's our one hand.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm gonna make it look like a mitten, because drawing 5 fingers is a lot.
5 too many fingers.
Right. And then here's our little foot. I'll turn it to the side so you guys can see a little bit better. Here's our little hand, our little foot. And then we'll do the same over here. Hello, he's waving. So I went to a Guardians game last week, and at Guardians games, which is the Cleveland baseball team, they during the game, they have a little break in which 3 hot dogs race around. 3 people in hot dog costumes race around the stadium, and one of them is ketchup, and one of them is mustard, and one of them is onion. And you kind of get to like guess which little hot dog is gonna win. And which hot dog do you think won, Georgiana?
I also have been to Guardians games, and I know that there is a big following on the team mustard. So if I was a betting woman, I would say mustard.
It was mustard.
It was always mustard.
Mustard won. All right, so this guy is a done dog. He's gonna sit over there for now. All right. Next, we'll do a what did I call that thing? That popsicle? Yeah. All right. So this one's pretty easy too, shape-wise. So it's kind of like, I'll just draw it out. You have to have like a little bit of an area down here for the popsicle stick. So here's our popsicle stick down here. And then it goes up kind of like, I always think it's like a terminal tower, which is another Cleveland icon, but it is a building. And it's like, it goes up and then it gets a little thinner and goes up and then it gets a little thinner and is like the top. So that's what I'm creating here, where the popsicle is getting thinner and thinner at the top. And just like that. I don't want it to look like a candle though. Got to be careful about that. And then each layer for our little bomb pop, one is red, like cherry. One is blue. I think it's blue raspberry. And then the white flavor. Do you know what the white flavor is?
I don't know. Maybe a mixed berry of sorts.
It could be a mixed berry of sorts. Yeah.
But you know what I was thinking?
What?
Could you fit another bomb pop so they're bomb pop friends? And they could be two bomb pops holding hands?
Oh, that's so cute. I think I'll have to,
room, but you might not.
I don't think the way I drew this, I don't have enough room. But maybe, how about this? How about if it's another little kawaii character and he's holding a sparkler?
Oh, okay. I guess I can settle for that.
Okay, all right. As long as it's cool with you.
Yeah.
Then that's good. All right. So for the white, okay, so let's back up. We need a color for the popsicle stick, and I think that's going to be orange. And then the next color up, I think, is usually the red. And then the next color up is the blue. And then the very top, I think, if I'm remembering correctly, is the white. Do you recall? Does that sound right to you?
I thought that it was blue bottom,
Blue
white,
bottom.
then red at the top.
Oh,
But I could also be wrong.
okay.
You know what?
May I interject?
Of course.
Yes.
It is red at the top, white in the middle, and blue at the bottom. And the flavors are cherry, lime, and blue raspberry. Thanks
Lime. Thank you,
you,
Nicole. We needed some guidance. We appreciate
You're
you.
making up flavors now.
Yeah, we're like, oh, it could be pineapple. Nope.
Oh,
Lime.
lime is that's probably why I like it the most. That makes sense.
Oh yeah, that's refreshing. That's good stuff.
So
All right.
blue at bottom,
Blue at bottom.
red on top.
All right. All of our friends out there, if you are following along and you are creating your own bomb pop, I'm sure that you're also very grateful for Nicole. Okay, blue at bottom. Here we go. And I'm using my fine tip paintbrush. Oh, actually, there's enough room to use the broad one for the bottom. So here's the blue at the bottom. They also have a little bit of ridginess. So that actually is perfect. So there's our bottom part. Ridginess. How they molded the popsicle. Okay. And then is our lime, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so the lime, I could just make it white, but I'm going to add a little bit of yellow to it just because. So it's going to be a really, really light neon yellow. And it'll be really cool because we have each one of those colors of the glow in the dark. So there we go. There we go.
There you go. And then is he
There
going to be holding his green sparkler?
Oh, He could be. Okay, and then the pink. You know, I do need my fine tip for the pink. All right, friends out there, I want you to start thinking of what our next rock should be painted like. What do you guys think? For some reason, a ladybug popped in my head, but I know why. It's because I have a ladybug bracelet on. So ladybugs are on my mind. A patriotic ladybug. Okay, so here's our cute little bomb pop. But I kind of want some like decoration around the edge of it too. And I have to outline it. I'm going to outline it in black first and then add the glow in the dark paint and then add the sparkler in our little sweet character's little hand. Just because I don't know why. I just want to. Oh, this is so fun. So I
We have
don't know.
someone suggesting a patriotic butterfly just in case you couldn't see it.
Aw, patriotic butterfly. That's cute. And up we go. And up we go. Oh my goodness, this is amazing. Good job, friends. Following along, making wonderful suggestions.
We have a patriotic sunflower. The blue
Oh,
center and red and white petals.
wow. I've never done that one either.
Mhm.
I'm just adding a little detail lines here and there, just to give it a little bit of dimension. And down here. All right, let's put our sweet little face on. All right, should the face be down here in the blue, up here in the red / pink, or in the lime flavored? What do you think, Georgiana?
I'm thinking blue.
Aww. Okay.
He just has a big brain.
Yeah. That's a big brain. Oh, right now I'm going to stop what I'm doing just so I can show you another technique. So I just drew that one little eyeball with the tip of my paintbrush, but you could always flip your paintbrush over and use the back plastic tip to create a little dot like that too. So I'll do that just to show you guys. Ta-da. So you can do either one. And why this one over here looks a little wonky is because the rock kind of has a little bit of a natural crevasse there. So it might look a little like off, but it's not. It's as it should be. And we need a little sweet little smile. Hi. Come into life, little guy. Hi. And then arms. Should the arms be coming off the blue or off the stick? I think off the blue.
I think off the blue too.
Okay. So this one will be the one. Maybe he's holding sparklers in both hands. Yeah.
He's just being very cautious. Well, I guess if it gets too out of control, he could just stick it in his head.
Stick it right in his little head.
Not suggested, but
Great. Okay. So we need the sticks of the sparklers. Sticks of the sparklers will be, I think those could be blue as well. I'll make them, I haven't used purple yet. Yeah, on the same wavelength. Purple. Up you go. And up you go. And it'll be coming through his hand a little bit just to make it look like he's holding it. Show you guys a little closer what I'm doing. So you can overlap the little dot that you make for his hand, and then you stop, and then you continue it on. So it looks like he's holding it. And then the sparkler part. So we'll use our glow in the dark green. And I'm just going to do a real easy, kind of like you just cross over it multiple times, almost like a snowflake. Now I'll dot here, just kind of random dots to represent the sparkliness, sparkler-iness. Woo! So fun! Oh my goodness, I love this little guy. What's his name? Do we have a name for him?
Oh, someone's gonna have to give him a name.
Oh, okay, people. Come on, friends. What's our little friend, our new little friend's name? I have an idea if no one else does. What do you guys think? Are we
Sparky? Timmy?
Timmy. All right, Georgiana, I'll let you choose the name as I add the glow in the dark to the flavors.
Oh, well, I need to hear your suggestion too, Miss Meredith.
My suggestion was Brandon because we were talking about that name beforehand.
Yeah, that's a good one. But you know what? I just feel like he looks like a Sparky.
Yeah. I love it. All right. Thank you so much. We now have a name for our little dude, Sparky. And I'm not filling in the whole thing. I'm just adding some detail with the glow in the dark pink. So just kind of like lines. Ooh, I can't wait to see how this looks when we turn out the lights.
Me too.
And I will put a little bit of orange down here just because we have it. Wow, so this rock has all of our colors? It has all of our colors of glow in the dark, so you get to see what all of them will look like. Cool. Oh, I love it. Hi, Sparky. Okay, we've got our hot dog, we've got Sparky, we've got our firework. Someone said a butterfly. Let's see, let's look at the shapes of our rocks. I could actually see this one as a butterfly. And this one could be, what were the other suggestions?
Sunflower.
Oh, the sunflower. This could be a sunflower too.
And I'm still pulling my suggestion from last class of a rubber ducky. Because a rubber ducky with some sunglasses sounds me.
That is very patriotic. I don't know if we have the shape of rock for
Yeah.
that one though. All
Worth
right.
a shot, you know, I'll bring it
That
up
was a
next
good-
time too. It might be a Halloween rubber ducky, but we'll get a rubber ducky in there somewhere.
All right, I think I might just be intimidated in the rubber ducky shape, so I might have to practice. I'll practice
Okay.
beforehand.
You know,
All right, yeah, I do. Thank you. All right. Okay, so butterfly and then sunflower. So our butterfly, how are we going to do that? We've got our pink, blue, and white. Do we still want to make the butterfly body green? I think so. Okay, so to make our green, we're gonna do our yellow, you know, because yellow is the lighter color. And then our blue. And just keep adding blue in until we get the green that we want. And why I'm using this paint rather than the glow-in-the-dark paint right now is because I want it flat. I want the paint to be flat on the rock rather than dimensional. So just in case we add a face, it'll be easier to draw or to paint a face on. So how should I do this? I think this will be our head. And then here's our body. So basically a circle is the head. And then a straight line down is our body. And I'd like to make it a little bit more opaque. So I'll wait until this dries a little bit and then I'll do another layer over top of it. So this is a darker rock that we're using. So sometimes that just happens. You could put another layer of white on it in order to make it more opaque and the colors pop a bit, but I didn't do that. So we'll just do a couple coats if we need to. All right, so red, white, and blue. So maybe we should have like pink wings. And then we could add detail of the blue and the white over top. What do you think about that?
I think that's the move.
Or do we do white wings and then pink and blue over top? What do you think? Pink wings. Okay. We'll give that a go. There's no wrong answer when we're trying something out for the first time.
Because we're only painting 4 rocks right now, but you're given 10.
Right.
So if you want to try a design again.
Yeah, you could definitely do that. 100%. So you could have, like, we could have even done a pink wing and a blue wing and then added the different colors on top. Ooh, there we go. All right. So here's our pink. I'm going to set that one aside to dry a little bit and start on our sunflower as well. So our sunflower. All right, my friend out there, what color did you see the center of the sunflower?
They said a blue center with red and white.
Ah, okay. So a blue center. Cool. Here's our blue center. And I already have the white opened up. So we'll put some white and then we'll put some pink. Our petals, let me think here. The petals have a little bit of a tip on each one, on each petal, if I'm remembering the sunflower correctly. And for this one, it would take some time to outline each petal with black to give it the definition. So it might make more sense if you're following along at home to wait until it dries and then use a marker rather than trying to use your fine tip brush, because it could be pretty challenging. Not that you shouldn't try it if you want. Definitely try it if you'd like. But that's just my suggestion as to what might make things a little bit easier. And I'm leaving some space in between each petal so I can add some pink ones in there as well. And I would like to add a stem with a leaf. So I've left some room down here for that. All right, we'll get our pink. Great ideas, friends. Thank you for sharing. I'm so glad that you're here today with me. And thank you to Michaels for hosting us as always. It's a pleasure. Painting rocks is super fun, especially when we have friends out there who enjoy following along and painting their own rocks. So that's the other part of this kit. After you paint your rocks, and I showed you at the beginning of class, you're given these stickers that you can put on the backs of the rocks. And then you can hide the rocks, and you can hide them inside or outside, wherever you want. Oftentimes I'll see some like at the library or at a playground or in the park. So there's plenty of places you can hide them, or you can just gift them to people that you think might enjoy a little painted rock, a little bit of artwork that they can put somewhere on their desk or something. So this is super cute. I love it. Very sweet. Add a little bit more dimension to our petals here. Okay. And we'll get our green. I made some green before for our butterfly, and I think it's still wet. So I'll gather some of that. Put it right down like that. Gather some more. Add it to make a leaf. So here's our stem and there's our leaf. And for this one, I'm not going to make it the little cute kawaii style. I'm going to just go ahead and add some dimension to it though with our glow-in-the-dark paint. So sunflowers have all these little seeds in the center. So dot, 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 to represent all those little sunflower seeds. Like that. And then some of our petals, we'll put pink. And another thing about this paint, you can always add paint like this and it comes out as a cool little like line, but then you can always go back in with your paintbrush and kind of spread it around if you want. So then instead of just a line, it can take the form of a shape. Some white. This one kind of looks like a really cool firework as well.
I was just thinking that. We have a cross between a flower and a firework.
I often think that when I'm watching fireworks, I'm like, oh, that one looks like a chrysanthemum, or that one looks like a willow tree, or, you know, like I definitely think fireworks sometimes look like nature.
I do very vividly remember going to a fireworks show and one of them bursting into a rose
Whoa.
and another one bursting into the flag.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, that's some skills right there.
Yeah, I will say that it was done by professionals,
Yeah.
but that was very impressive.
Oh, yeah. That sounds really neat. All right, so this guy's all done. We'll put you aside to dry. And then we'll get back to our patriotic butterfly. I'm gonna add a little bit more of that green. Make it a little bit more opaque in the head. And I think we need stripes and stars, or at least little dots to represent stars. And although the stripes will be on pink, I think that's okay. We'll just stripe it. Because it's our own unique patriotic butterfly. Like we said before, there's really no right or wrong. So here's our stripes. And we'll do the white. We'll use the technique I mentioned earlier with using the back of the paintbrush to add our dots, our stars, representational of stars. Now, if you are a crafter and you have something like maybe star-shaped sequins or star-shaped stickers that are small enough, you could always just add those too if you wanted. So that's fun. And we need a little bit of definition in our butterfly. So we need to outline. Well, first of all, I guess I'll outline first. So sometimes I move the rock around so I can add the detail a little bit easier. And for me, when I'm holding the rock up like this, strokes that come down towards me are easier. And that's why I keep moving the rock around. Just in case you were wondering. But I assume most of you will possibly be working on your rocks with them laying down on your desk or on your table. Detail there. And then we need our antenna. 1, 2. And our little face. Some little lines, definition, little legs. And since he is our own little creation, he's going to have little arms too. Whee! And here's our sweet little butterfly. Okay, and of course we need to add a little glow in the dark on this little guy too. So I'm going to put some fun dots just surrounding the little butterfly. Maybe they're his little firefly friends off in the distance.
You know, and I was thinking that maybe he's not necessarily a butterfly, but he could be a moth. He
Oh,
would be out at night with his firefly. friend.
yeah. That's really cool. I think that's a great suggestion, Georgiana. All right, so as we've been painting, the lights have been on our rocks. And why I mention that is because the way you charge the glow in the dark paint is by having them under bright lights. So if you were to just hold your paint up to a light, even in the tube like this, the paint will be charging. So when you turn off the lights, you'll see all your different colors of paint glow. So I think what we're doing right now is we're gonna shut off the lights and we're gonna hold our little rocks up to see if they glow. Ooh, they're already starting to glow.
3, 2, 1.
Right. See. Okay, you can see Georgiana is trying to block the light, but I think you can see oh yeah, so cool. So what do you guys think? Aren't they adorable? Isn't it magical? I love them. Nice suggestion, friends. That was so fun. And I love, love, love that these glow so well. So the camera caught it pretty well, but at home, when you charge up your paint by holding it up to a light and then you turn out the lights, you'll be able to see it even more. So super exciting, super fun. I'm so happy that you were able to join us, and I hope you can join us again for our next class. But today, this was our glow-in-the-dark rock painting kit by Creativity for Kids. Thanks again and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.